Forbidden Door 2023 just ended, like literally. It's 12:14. That joint ended at midnight. That's when I'm recording this right now, 12:14. And you're here and you're asking yourself, well, what just happened? And I'll tell you, I got some thoughts. We got the results. We're going to review the show, and we're just going to dive into. I'm currently putting the high and the high risk part of the wrestling podcast. But we have 4 matches on the pre-show. We had 10 scheduled for the main card, but the Adam Cole Tom Lawler match was canceled due to sickness on Adam Cole's behalf. So we'll see if we'll get that match in the near future. But first up on the pre-show, we had the Chaos, Chuck Taylor, Romero, Trent Beretta, and El Desperado taking on the Mogul Embassy, which was, Bishop Kaun, Brian Cage, Swerve, Strickland, and Teo Liona. This was a fine match, but you kind of knew who was going to win this because, Trent and Rocky, they've been, and Chuck, they've been losing matches, whereas Swerve has kind of been in storylines now. So the Mogul Embassy did win this match. Next up, we had another first round match in the women's part of the AEW Owen Hart Cup. I wish this was actually the main event of the pre-show, but we had Athena defeating Billie Starkz to advance. And listen, Athena has been the MVP of Ring of Honor. I told you that. She was always going to advance, but Billie Starkz looked really, really good here. It was a nice little back and forth matchup, and Billie Starkz is going to have a bright future. Next up, we had El Phantasmo versus Stu Grayson. Stu coming out with the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. No Dark Order, as you need to be watching Ring of Honor to see what's going on. But El Phantasmo won this in a nice little exciting matchup. And in the main event of the pre-show, we had Los Ingobernables de Japon, the team of BUSHI, HIromu, Takahashi, Shingo, Takagi taking on the team of United Empire, Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and TJP. Now, I originally thought that the United Empire was going to win just because of where Kyle Fletcher has been on TV, Jeff Cobb, TJP, but no, Los Ingobernables won. So this was a really, really exciting pre-show, really solid stuff. Now we're on to the main card. And first, if you watch Collision, MJF defending the AEW World Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan. This wasn't anything special, anything crazy. I actually kind of wish it was a little bit shorter. It went 15 minutes. You can tell that Tanahashi was doing this for a minute. Tanahashi has lost a couple steps, and he was happy to work. Looked like he was happy to work a very MJF type match. Slow, methodical, plodding, and the crowd helped things along because they love Tanahashi. But this was nothing more, nothing less. Tanahashi wasn't going to get the victory here. It's so funny. I wanted him to get the victory last year, but not this year. It's crazy how much 1 year changes, because Tanahashi looked way better last year, but MJF got the W after he hit Tanahashi with the Dynamite's Diamond Ring. But MJF gets a very, very strong victory over a legend like Tanahashi. Next up, we had CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima in the first round matchup of the Owen Hart Cup. And Punk was getting boos here. Then at one point he was getting cheered. He was really going Hulk Hogan-esque. He was getting showered like boos like the Hogan Shawn Michaels match those years ago at SummerSlam. But Satoshi was really, really good, and he wasn't just going to lay down. This was solid. The result was never going to be in doubt, but it didn't matter because this was Punk's first singles match since All Out of last year. because he's been in 2 tag matches since returning. He looked good, and he kind of seemed to be relishing in that heat he was getting from the crowd, playing it up. He's on one right now. You know what I mean? He's on one, and it worked. Satoshi was solid here, giving Punk everything he got, but in the end, Punk won with I believe he won with the GTS. And showed Kojima respect after the match. And ladies and gentlemen, we've discussed this. The Fatal 4-Way for the International Championship. This was what I like to call a technical sprint. This was absolutely a blast to watch. Submissions all around, especially between Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia, because they're the technical parts, whereas Shibata is really the wild card. This match started off early with OC doing his stuff, kicks. Shibata played a hand into it, and this was entertaining. So it was definitely one of my favorite matches of the evening. They fit so much into 11 minutes, and it didn't really need to go any longer. It didn't overstay its welcome. Everybody just went at it. Nobody looked out of place. There was comedy that fit here, because these 4 men can do comedy and do it well, but they can also fight. And once again, Orange Cassidy retains, skates. Shibata gave Daniel Garcia a penalty kick. Cassidy knocked Shibata out of the ring, pinned Garcia 1, 2, 3. Like, yo, at some point Cassidy's got to lose his belt, but he's on a roll right now. And then after the match, Zack Sabre Jr. had some words for Cassidy, and then Shibata held up Cassidy's arm. So they're cool. There's no beef, no heat here. Next up, we had Sonata defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and boy, oh boy, this was cool. This was cool. It helped establish Perry as a star. Really, it really did. And there's no shame in losing to Sonata, which he lost. Sonata hit this very beautiful moonsault. It was clean. It was like this joint also went 11 minutes, and this Jack Perry wasn't really ever a threat to Sonata, but it was very, very believable that he could win this match. It was very, very solid. He gave Sonata a bunch of moves. Sonata kicked out. Sonata gave Jake Perry a bunch of moves, especially the skulls in, kicked out. But when he hit that moonsault press, it was over. This match is more like a statement match for Jungle Boy. He was never going to win, but it looks good. Looks good on your resume. This is fine. After the match, Hook is helping Jack to his feet, and they're walking to the back, and then you knew it was coming, because whenever the camera lingers, something's coming. And Jack Perry clotheslined Hook, and Taz was like livid. He was just livid. She called Jack Perry scumbag. Like it was on. Yeah. I am very interested in seeing where this is going to go. I mean, Jack has been cutting heelish type promos unintentionally for a couple years now. And him versus Hook should be a really, really good first start to his heel run. Next up, we had the 5-way tag team match as the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, teamed up with Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino, and they took on the Elite, Hangman Page and the Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii. And The story of this match was, honestly, it was Eddie Kingston, his beef with Claudio, his friendship with Moxley, his trust of Ishii, and his distrust of the Elite. So a lot of the match was Ishii and Mox just taking on everybody else, not tagging on their partner. So Hangman and the Bucks had to get in where they could fit in, and when they hit their spots, they hit their spots. BCC came out with a different theme song, so maybe we won't have any more Wild Thing. But we started off with Ishii and Takeshita. They're just beat the hell out of each other. Then we got Eddie and Mox, and what happens? They just start chopping each other. And just chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. Everybody's just fighting around them while they're still chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. And then they're still chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. Then that scumbag Claudio gets into the ring, and Eddie's just playing the partner in peril for a good, strong portion of this match. And at some point, you just lose track, and all hell breaks loose. The Young Bucks are kicking everybody. Eddie Kingston sacrificed himself so Mox doesn't get kicked. I don't know. This was so wild. This was so crazy. Everybody got a chance to sign. Takeshita and Ishii, I kind of want that match now. Takeshita looked great here, so did Umino. What more can I say? And who won this match? Ishii, the Bucks, Hangman, and Kingston. It's that simple. And who got the win? It was Ishii. He hit the dead drop brainbuster on Yuta. 1, 2, 3. And Eddie is in his feelings, and Shirani's right. If you had some reservations about taking this match and you knew what was involved, don't take the match. So this was fun. This was definitely a great match. And this is the Young Bucks, so this is number 25 mix. Next up, we had Toni Storm defending the AEW's Women's World Championship against Willow Nightingale. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been on the Willow Nightingale bandwagon, get on now. This match only went 10 minutes. A lot of matches only went about 10 to 12 minutes, as you knew what was going to get the big money minutes. But man, Toni and Willow put on a phenomenal match. And I told you, I like when Toni faces bruisers, faces a little bit more powerhouses. That's where she excels. I don't know what to say. The Outcasts kept trying to get involved. Willow was by herself, which I hate. AEW does this thing where the heels always have their people with them at ringside, and the faces who have friends never show up. The friends never show up. And then after the match, okay, so let's finish the match. Willow kept the crowd in it. Storm and the Outcasts played the rules quite well. This was just an all-around good match, and it looked like Willow had the victory in hand, and she was going for another pounce. Toni pulls the ref in front. Willow stops. As the ref gets out of the way, Toni Irix. Willow hits the Storm Zero. 1, 2, 3. Willow does not suffer in this loss. And during commentary, they brought up that she defeated Mercedes Moné multiple times. So that match has to be coming. But Willow Nightingale was great here. Toni Storm was great here. I'd be perfectly fine with another rematch. Then we had, boy, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, and Will was accompanied by Don Callis and some military grade security, and this joint, There was no Red Shoes in his match. I don't know why, because Red Shoes was here for the IWGP World Championship match, but I digress. This match might have exceeded their Wrestle Kingdom match, and there were so many callbacks. For the first portion of the match, they just decided to really hurt each other, and it started with Ospreay absolutely murdering Kenny Omega. He put his head through the announce table, and he takes the Canadian flag, rubs it on his ass, wedgies, whatever. And then that's when Kenny gets the upper hand, and then Kenny is murdering Will. And these dudes just have the Crimson Mask going. This was in like the first 20 minutes of the match. This joint went 40 minutes. And at one point I thought Kenny Omega was dead. I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead because Will hit the Tiger Driver 91 on Kenny and dropped Kenny right on his neck. He also hit him with the One Winged Angel and was going to win, but the way he was pulling him, Kenny in the pin, he pulled his legs into the rope break. But Don Callis got tossed. Don Callis came back, and Will was essentially playing dead. Don gave Will the screwdriver. What more can I say? It was over. I'm hoping Kenny Omega is fine, because the neck stuff, the back stuff, the hits that these two gentlemen took during this match, it's crazy. But this match will go down in history as one of the greats. And Ospreay is your new United States Heavyweight Champion once again. It's so funny because the first half of the match was slow. It was methodical. It was a brawl. It was a fight. And then it just picked up. See, this is why Kenny Omega is the best bout machine. Just go and watch this match. Next up, we had Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki taking on Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito. And what can I say? Sting is undefeatable. Yes. What do you mean? Sting is undefeatable. Sting won. Sting and Hook are both undefeated in AEW. They're both undefeated. And much like Sting's other matches, they're usually tag team matches. And they're usually just wild. And they're like giant sprints. And it works. It works. It was great seeing Sting and Jericho in the ring again. It was great seeing Naito in the ring. And the storyline continued with with Suzuki, with the Sex Gods. Man, oh man. These were fun. It was just fun. And it was a good little buffer match where you're after Kenny and Will. You can get the crowd going. You can relax them. Yeah, because after that it was the dream match of all dream matches, and I don't know where you stand. The question is, did it live up to your expectations? It was a sight to behold. Because the crowd was already on their feet. The crowd was already ready for this. Daniel Bryan got his final countdown theme, which was great. Okada into a great reaction, and before they even just touched each other, a loud "holy shit" chant broke out. They just soaked it in 30 seconds of them two just staring at each other, and then came the lockup. And after that, it wasn't about titles per se. It was about essentially one thing: who's the best in the world? Who's the best ever? And Danielson used his technical prowess. Okada used his power and his height advantage. And I just sat there and just watched two of the greatest of all time just do what they do best. It's hard to explain, but this was a really... saying this was a really good match doesn't really do anything. It was just a match of two of the best. And winner, chicken dinner, Bryan Danielson tapped out Okada. And Danielson only had one arm. He had the label lock in. I wasn't expecting Okada to lose. I actually picked Danielson to lose. It's going to be hard to really describe everything that happened in this match. All you need to know is you should just go and watch it, because it was worthy of being the main event. It was worth the wait of 10, 15 years. Overall, Forbidden Door does it once again. Standing out of the show for me, Willow Nightingale. Sucks that Sky Blue's in the match, because they show Sky Blue watching. They show Britt Baker watching because they, the Owen Hart Cup. But still, I think Sky Blue was the overall star of this show. Not Sky Blue. Willow Nightingale was the overall star of the show, and Orange Cassidy. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the future. But I'm going to give the Forbidden Door 9 out of 10. It's just a great show. It's just a great show. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what just happened. Don't forget to come back for the High Risk Wrestling podcast every Saturday. The High Risk Wrestling recap every Sunday. Both are now live. And see you this week.